This animation shows an Olympic swimmer moving steadily across a screen in a repeating loop. I think it's pretty cool. It's a great example of good animation in action, especially when you look at two key principles here. So, I'm going with ease in and out and timing and spacing. First, first the swimmer's movements don't just start and stop suddenly. You'll notice that her strokes build gradually, they speed up, and then they slow down again. So that'll be the ease in and out principle. It feels smooth, almost lifelike, and it helps to keep the viewer relaxed and focused rather than distracted. Now, the second principle I mentioned earlier was timing and spacing. Each arm stroke, each kick, they're all evenly spaced, nothing feels rushed, and nothing drags. So I think this balance makes the animation feel stable, makes the animation feel consistent, as well as it's easy to follow and keeps your attention without doing too much. And so, in a user interface, an animation like this would add calm energy and polish without distracting from the task. So, altogether, this animation, I believe, gets it right. It gets it right by being clear, it gets it right by being smooth, as well as well paced. Now, let's take a look at the Olympic rings animation here, which, just like the first one, is going to spin in a loop here. So, at first glance, it does seem flashy, but when you really watch it, a few issues stand out. The first problem here is the lack of anticipation in this not so good animation as the first one. The rings just start spinning out of nowhere. I don't see much visual lead in here. So there's no bounce, there's no pause or cue really to signal that the kind of movement that we see here in this animation is coming. It just happens instantly. And so it makes it feel jarring and somewhat abrupt. And the second issue here is the timing and it's the spacing. The spin happens too fast, like I said earlier, and then it loops again before you really had time to process it. So there's not much breathing room here. There's no pause between loops, and there's no variation in speed. And this kind of motion in a real interface, I think, will be distracting, could be distracting, and users might not know what the animation is trying to tell them. Or worse, they might ignore it completely. So if it were slower with some easing and brief pause, it would feel more purposeful and easier to watch. So I think it moves too quickly without warning and overwhelms more than it helps.